butterfly.
Yeah.
So you see the pattern there.
Oh yeah.
When it was cold, then I put it in the annealer, got it warm, picked it up on the end of a rod like this, got it soft, made sure it was just the right shape. Then my partner held one end, I held the other end, and we pulled it out, and we ended up with 4 feet of this kind of a bar.
Is that right?
Yeah. And now I take this bar, I slice off little pieces called murine. This is what it looks like. Little tiny butterfly.
Yeah. Gee, that's nice, eh?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, eh?
Once I take that, put it over on the hot plate over there to get it back up to temperature, pick it up on a bubble of glass, and then when I blow it out, that little tiny murine turns into a big butterfly like that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, this is ultimate temperature. Let me just put it away. The reason I waited, the glass was still soft on the surface, so I had to let it get hard enough that it wouldn't pick up the junk from the bottom of that tray. Another paperwork.
So does that cook it? No.
No, that doesn't cook. That lets all the strains in the glass relax. And so it sits at 900 and something degrees. And it'll sit there all day. Then at the end of the day, we push the program start. It sits there for another hour minimum. And then it very slowly goes down to about 800 degrees. Then it more quickly drops down to room temperature. And that is just to relieve all the strains so that it doesn't explode when we...
It's similar, like as I said, I went to a lot of those tests, like, you know, stress release, everything was X-ray, but then they were putting the heat on the pipe, coming, let's say, to, just for an example, I'm just mentioning 3,500, building the temperature and then slowing down in so many hours.
It's just like annealing
and
a
it
piece
comes
of steel.
exactly, the well and everything comes exactly the same as the pipe.
Right.
Otherwise it will break someplace.
We have to be very careful with the glass we use. All of this glass has a certain coefficient of expansion. So all the colors have to be compatible. And so all of these have what we call 96 coefficient of expansion. It speak 96 times 10 to the minus centimeters per degree Celsius or some such thing. Because if you have two pieces of glass that are not the same expansion, when they cool down, one will shrink faster than the other and it'll tear the piece apart. And you'll see some of our we have a shelf of seconds back in there. Accidentally, I got hold of a piece of glass that had the wrong coefficient of expansion, and it was a red piece. And so there are little cracks in the red, and so that's why we sell it at basically our cost, because it's damaged. So we have to be very careful. And sometimes even when I was making these, because I'm working the glass very hard, I had to make sure that each of the colors of glass came from the same manufacturer and the same batch number. So they were made on the same month or whatever. So it's buying your colors is a very tricky business. Most of the color comes from either Germany or New Zealand. I prefer the New Zealand glass. David prefers the German glass. It's just a matter of who has the which palette. Yes. As you can tell, I really enjoy this stuff.
That's good.
And what I ask you a question, you learn every day, same as every trade or technology and everything.
I learn every moment. Even though that's a piece I've probably made 100 times, I learned something there because when I was talking to you, I got to a place where the glass was doing something that I'd never seen it do before. Now, later on when I'm by myself, I will play that, I'll go to that place again because it was rather interesting artistically. I think I can use that in a future piece. That's one thing about the glass arts is that there are more possibilities of doing things creatively than anybody could ever have the time for. There's no shortage of the creative urge. I probably have 10,000 pieces in my head that I'd like to do, and I'm of a certain age, and I'll only last a certain length longer, so I'm going to get to do the pieces I like. My my favorite piece. I should have brought it here to show people, but it's my private collection.
But you're gonna live a long time because you have all these ideas working in
Oh,
your
yeah.
head. Can't
That's right. Well, I'm going to live to 1,000,000 then because I've got more ideas than time. But with Paolo Bastianello, he's my favorite assistant blower. Well, I hate to say assistant because he's been blowing for 50 years. So he's my favorite teacher because he will follow me wherever I'm going. I made a piece which looks like a peacock. It's a vase about this big. The whole bottom of it is covered with This is the marine that bottom is. You see how it's got this green on the outside
Yeah.
and red, and there's little yellow flecks on the inside. I first took that and put it on a flat piece of shelf that's fireproof, and Paolo put it in the furnace and melted it. So we had hundreds of little eyes, and I squished it together with paddles until it was a square shape. Then I measured the size of the square, and he kept it warm while I got myself some sort of a deep royal blue. I put some gold powder in it, and I made a bubble. And he's brought the flat piece of glass out here, basically liquid this, and I just rolled it up onto it, and I made this beautiful tall vase that looks just like a peacock with all the feathers. These turn out to be the eyes. Blue had nice streaks in it, streaks of gold and blue. And of course, that was one of those, that's why I blow glass, because I started out to make something completely different. It got away on me. Paolo was there to help me catch it and salvage this most beautiful piece of it. The downside of doing that thing is now I've got a piece that's way beyond my skill. I couldn't make another one if I tried. I brought it home. The first words out of my wife's mouth were, I want another one.
Now,
Mr. Eric Covington from the Glassblowing place in Alexandria will take us through the work he has done at the Glassblowing place. Mr. Covington is also one of the founders of the Glassblowing place. Mr. Covington, thank you so much for being my guest in the show. And I would like to take a look at these beautiful glasses that you've done. You just showed them to your audience in the other room.
Yeah, I was talking to them about the process I go through to make these. And this butterfly is a good example because this starts life as obviously solid colors. What I do is I make a bar like this, which has all the colors of the wing, and it starts off as a great big lump like that of color. We stretch it out and then cut it into small sections like this one. I then tie with stainless steel wire the 4 sections for the wing and the section that makes the body, and then put it in an annealer so I can reheat it, pick it up on a pipe, and then pull it out again. So I end up with butterflies like this. Actually, I have a piece here. That's what the butterfly looks like when I've pulled it to length. Then I cut it again with my diamond saw to get little discs like that one. Now you can see that's quite a bit different size than what's on the glass. I put, in this case, in this glass, I put 2 of these little butterflies on a hot plate, warmed them up to above 800 degrees, and then I picked up some clear glass on my pipe, laid it on the butterflies to pick them up, melted it together, and then I blew a bubble. And as you blow the bubble, it of course stretches the glass, and that's why this butterfly stretches out to be something quite a bit bigger.
Amazing.
That's the process of using marine on blown glassware.
And you know, Mr. Covington, we take for granted these glasses. They are so beautiful. We just use them, drink water, and we never think about the artist.
Well, it's, I must say I'm driven by color. You can see the color in this. This particular murine, this is what it looks like when I picked it up. But you see how the blues have pulled over here, and to me this looks like a sea anemone. And so this is because the blues have a different temperature. They get runny faster than the rest of it. So when I'm heating it in the furnace, they melt and flow over the piece. And as you can see, it makes a spectacular bowl when it's done.
Yes.
So it's the color that drives me in this process. And you can see these are some of my pieces, and accurate placement of color is what makes my day.
And like butterflies, peacock style patterns.
Yeah, I wish I had managed to show you my peacock vase, but I made a beautiful peacock vase that was, I'd say, 30% luck and 70% technique. The luck was probably having Paolo Bastianello as my assistant, a man with 50 years glassblowing experience. He allowed me to get out past my creative edge and do something spectacular. It was done with picking up a whole lot of little marine, like you see in this piece, which were the eyes of the peacock's tail. I managed to make a vase that was about that tall. There's a picture of it on our Facebook page for people who are connected to the internet. But that's the sort of creativity that glass gives you. It's very much an in-the-moment kind of creativity, much like making music. If you have a piece that's the right temperature and moving in the right way, you just follow the glass and it takes you to beautiful places.
May I ask you, Mr. Covington, what fascinates you about the peacock? The beauty, it's a majestic bird.
I didn't come to the peacock vase intentionally. I had these murine that just happened to be green and looked like eyes, and when I melted them on the pastorelli to pick them up, they still just looked like a bunch of dots, but I thought it would turn into an interesting bowl. When I was heating it, first when I picked it up, I had not quite enough murine for the size of piece of glass I had, so I had extra colored glass sticking out the front. And Paolo convinced me to, well, maybe I didn't want to try a bowl, but we were having an argument about it. I was standing there talking to him, and I got the glass too hot for what I was trying to do. When I came out, of course it wanted to fall off the pipe. He was very good because he quickly got a piece of graphite underneath it. I was able to set it down, and it stretched out to make the vase. So, as I say, it was 30% luck when I managed to stretch what started off as a vase, a bowl. It started off as a bowl into a vase. Now, it was also luck that I just happened to have the right colors on the pipe at the time. So, sometimes you don't start to make what you intend. You never get what you exactly intend. You have to listen to the glass. And listening to the glass and the way it's working and the way it feels tells you everything there is to know about it.
I was asking Mr. Patterson just before I was doing this video with you if he signed his work. And he said that some of them he signs, the bigger ones. Do you sign them?
I guess I would if somebody asked me. Yeah, I will if somebody asked me. In general, I don't, because for me, it's the process of making it is what drives me. It's not having it. I've probably given away more glass to friends and neighbors than I've sold, because if I find that somebody likes it and is taken by it, I'll go out of my way to make it available to them. I don't really claim pride of authorship, but that's just, I've never thought of myself as a glass artist. Only recently did a friend of mine say, I've got to start behaving like an artist because he liked my stuff.
Mr. Covington, do we have, I think you showed me other pieces as well around here.
Well, this is an interesting piece because this is done with Paolo. I made the butterfly, obviously. Paolo was the prime blower on this, and we were working very hard to get this so we had all these different layers in there. So he made this piece by picking up the glass, then I would bring him some clear, then he'd pick up some more color, then I'd bring him some clear, then he'd pick up the flower, I'd bring him some clear. He picked up the butterfly, I brought him some clear. So my job was just to keep bringing him nice clear glass. Then he formed this. Teamwork is a good part of what glass blowing is all about. You'll notice that when Melissa and Clement blow together, they're very much a bonded team. All glass blowers look for their ultimate glass blowing mate. I will admit I haven't found mine yet, I'm still looking. I work with a lot of glass blowers and enjoy them, but finding the person who has the right rhythm of the way their body moves, the way they think about glass, it's almost like finding a marriage partner.
So you're still single?
In the glass blowing environment. I'm very much married in the real world.
Yes, I know. And where you showed me other pieces. What about this one here? It looks like, is this yours too?
This actually is, Clement was teaching me, and I gave him some murine, put it on the hot plate. I was asking him to show me how he blows this kind of a vessel. And so obviously he did a very good job of blowing it. This is my, one of the projects I'm working on is to make wine carafes with this pattern of glass. I wanted a little further up the neck and I wanted it a bit more bulged out here, but Clement was showing me how to make this neck. This neck is a kind of a tricky thing to make on the pipe because you have to stretch it out and then it's sitting on the end of the pipe. When you heat it, this thin part gets soft before the thick part does. You got all this weight out here so it tries to fall off. Figuring out how to do that is what Clement was teaching me. So much of glass blowing is learning.
Amazing.
This
is yours?
This is mine, and this is another happy accident. I was at Espace Vert taking a class, and actually Clement was the blowing assistant at that time. And it was the end of a very long day of blowing glass. And again, I stayed in the oven a little too long, and the glass got a little too little, and it came out and it was falling for the floor. Clement hollered across the studio to me to get up on the bench and blow down, which I did. He came running with this little glass button here, stuck it underneath as it hit the floor, and that's what made this whole glass thing work so lucky. It actually is hollow all the way down. We managed to, a happy accident. I did not intend to make this at all when I started out. I really do enjoy doing pieces which include not only glass, but in this case, polished rock.
Beautiful.
My first passion being rock carving, so
Your first passion is rock carving.
I really enjoy carving jade and other hard stones, tiger's eye, those sorts of things.
Do you have any here?
No,
Glass.
this is. I have a studio at home where I carve my jade, and for me, jade is a very personal thing. I've never sold a jade. I don't think I ever will. I give them away when I find the right person.
I would be happy if you ever decide to share what you do at home with the public. I would be happy to come and video record. It would be an honor. Mr. Mr. Covington, do we have other pieces around that we can show to the public?
Well, there are a lot of pieces here by a lot of artists in this particular part of the studio.
You showed me something by the window, I think, earlier.
This is, again, you're starting to recognize my particular way of doing things. This is murine. Yes. This is where I stacked up. In fact, this is where that peacock vase was supposed to go. I put a whole lot of discs of colored glass of these murine on a flat pastorelli. It's like a pizza shovel. Mm-hmm. Melted them in the furnace until I had a flat slab of glass which had all these discs on it. Then rolled up the discs into a tube and blew this vessel. This is my first attempt at murine work here at this studio.
Before you were here, where did you do glass?
My very first glass blowing lesson was with David Patterson, who was a glass blower here. Mm-hmm. After that, I went to Espace Vert, where Laura Donifer was my main teacher, mm-hmm. and then I went to the Halliburton School of Arts. So I've sort of been around, and also I was borrowing studio space from glass artists, so of course I learned from them too.
Mr. Covington, thank you very much for being with us today, and I am very grateful for sharing all this information and all this beautiful art that you have done.
Thank you very much.